Okay, so they spent 15 to 20 minutes talking about what GlitchCon is. Like, they had the CEO of Twitch talk about GlitchCon and like go over the schedule. Like, why did that need to happen? Like, they should have just done that with these people right now. Why did they spend so much time going over mundane information that only matters for today? Like, you have 160,000 people watching. That was your moment. That was your opportunity to hit on some hard points, to make some like serious statements. They squandered it. They squandered that opportunity. Like, they could have done so much better with that time. And it's really disappointing that they went with the script. Like, they clearly had a script made and just stuck with it despite everything that's happened in the last week. It was just like a lot of fluff. They barely acknowledged the DMCA thing. They literally repeated what the blog said almost verbatim. The ads thing, they mentioned ads. They didn't mention a single solid product. They did not mention one product. They said, we're working on ads and streamers make more money, which to me, whenever they talk about that at TwitchCon, it feels really icky. Like, it feels icky for me. And I can't imagine the viewers are like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see that streamers are making 1/3 X the amount of money, 1/3 more than they did like this time last year. No one cares about that. Like, that does not no one's like, yeah, like, no one cares about that. That's corporate speak, and that's something that they should save for corporate things. Like, it's just not a community type of message. It's always sucked. I've always hated it, and I've always hated that, and I just don't know why they do it. And especially when it's Emmett Shear that does it, I'm like, I feel so gross. Like, it's just ugh, I hate that so much. But that has existed since the first TwitchCon, and so it's not like a specific criticism, but it still is just like, I don't like it. Especially for people who aren't making more. Yeah, like, cool, let's perpetuate the idea that every streamer is making a lot more money and they're fine. Like, the streamers that make more are the people on top, and that lifts the average up. It's not necessarily every streamer is making that much more money, right? They're just pulling aggregate data. And for a lot of that, that's just the top streamers getting significantly more popular and more money. Like, it's the top pulling up the average. Trickle down viewernomics. The only time that this keynote came close to like having sustenance was the guy that was VP of product or something. And he was saying things that I think would have been interesting, except the fact that his mic kept cutting out. So we didn't actually hear anything solid, but it was like, we almost caught pieces of like interesting information. The only time that we would have gotten actual information and the mic wasn't working. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We missed that whole thing. That could have been something. It could have been something. Also, with the accessibility portion as a criticism, Twitch could have addressed their shortcomings with accessibility and what they were working on to remedy that. Like, they're just like, hey, here's $1 million, which is a good thing, but also like, that doesn't do anything to change your platform or to acknowledge your shortcomings, which there are for sure on the platform. And the whole Kappa thing that happened was bad timing. I know that's like a production thing. That was a big misfire. That was bad. That was the worst timing you could have done for that. Whoever fired that off, oof, that was yikes. The whole music category felt to me super tone deaf to basically brag about how amazing music has done on Twitch, which it has, and Twitch has been a big part of promoting that. Like, right as we're in the middle of the most confusing times for streamers and especially musicians on Twitch right now, like, just, they should have axed that whole segment. They should have cut that whole segment out. I don't know how they went through with that. I just, my mind is kind of blown. It's kind of insane that they were just like, yeah, music's done so good on Twitch. Music is great. I don't know. That was so weird to me. So super, super tone deaf. Oh yeah, the product guy was like, he said something along the lines of, according to our data, we find that if viewers watch a stream for 5 minutes, they're 3 times more likely to either stay around or like subscribe or something or give money or something, right? if you have hard data that demonstrates the value of having a viewer see 5 minutes of uninterrupted content, why on earth would you have ads that roll within the first 5 seconds of a stream? Like, you do realize the contradiction there, right? Because ads are a deterrent. Pre-roll ads are a deterrent for viewers to watch new streams, to pick up a stream they're not subbed in. Do you see why that is kind of confusing? Do you see why maybe pre-rolls, maybe there should be pre-rolls that are not necessarily pre-rolls, but automated after 5 minutes of time to give that viewer a little bit of investment into that channel so that they will stay for that 30-second ad instead of clicking off and going back to what they know? And I've talked about this for years. I've talked about this for at least the last year or so about pre-rolls and why they deter viewers, they hurt discoverability, and they make people not want to check out new streams. And they just confirmed my suspicion with data. Viewers need to watch the first 5 minutes of a stream. I just man, do 6 minutes. Do a forced pre-roll 6 minutes into a stream. I'm not saying they have to get rid of pre-rolls altogether, but I would make it automated 6 minutes into the stream. What is this logic? I don't know. Yeah, and okay, so people can say, well, they're gonna do a town hall next week or next month. Okay, do you think that's gonna have any of the same amount of advertising, of promotion, of having on the front page? Do you think it's gonna have the same amount of eyes as GlitchCon? You can't have an event and talk about the community and coming together and this is the moment, and then not do anything to actually bring the community together, which would be messaging, reassurance, hope for the future of the platform. These are major things that creators are missing right now from Twitch. And the fact that they didn't hit nowhere, they didn't hit anywhere, is a travesty to the creators. Seriously, you're gonna prop up how much more money streamers are making, which, by the way, again, very skewed, because I bet you in large part that's because of the top bringing up the average, and also just the accessibility of revenue with having more and more affiliates, right? Doesn't really that messaging doesn't really mean anything for most streamers, and it doesn't do anything for the viewers too. But you're gonna talk about that and then just you're literally, this is looking at streamers as piggy banks when they do this kind of messaging, where they're oh yeah, streamers, they make more money, and look at how much viewers we watch. Oh my god, look how much we've grown as a platform. You guys are little piggy banks for us. That's what it feels like as a streamer, and I'm sure as a viewer it feels even worse. I've never understood why they did that. That's straight corporate talk, and they should have saved that for a corporate slideshow. All they said was music. They of course said, we hear you, we see you, we hear you, we're listening. Music, we're working on it. Ads, we're working on it. They didn't actually say anything. Again, I had very mitigated expectations because I knew I just had a feeling, but I didn't know it would just be it would fall this short. You know what I mean? I thought that they would surprise me and actually deliver some good stuff. They literally dedicated an entire section boasting about how successful music is on Twitch. When streamers and musicians are getting DMCA'd left and right, musicians are very lost and confused about the gray area, and they're in between right now. I mean,